Okay, so now let's try to go over the reports in more detail. Let's choose sales quantity per product as a demo. So let's choose go. So let's go to pivot sheet and try to build our table. So sales quantity per product is supposed to show you the quantity we have sold for each product over the range of date that we select. So let's see that now. So build table and chart. So let's try to see the quantity of the products that we have sold for January 13 to January 20. Okay, so press OK. So previously I did not explain this much, but this is a more simpler explanation of when to choose date for column or date for row. Basically, if you want to choose, if you want to view easy viewing of data in the table, you should choose column. But if you want to see the data easily, the patterns in the chart, then choose row. So for now, let's choose column, and then next let's choose row. I'll show you the difference. So let's choose column, delete the current chart. Let's stick to the column type chart, clustered. Okay. So see here. Remember we chose column. So look at, let's go to the table. See that it's when the date is in the columns, the table is easier to read. You can easily see all of the products here and how many have been sold for January 13, January 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, so on and so forth. And then we have the grand total here. So this makes the table easier to view and interpret and understand. So let's try. So let's look at what happened to the chart. In the chart, you get this. For every product, you get the range, the whole date, the whole January 13 to January 20 listed for each product, which makes it kind of hard for comparison purposes in terms of chart. For example, look here. Grand Cement. For Grand Cement, you can see the whole week of January 13 to January 20 all packed into this small area for Grand Cement. This is the whole week. So if you want to compare Grand Cement, the quantity sold for Grand Cement versus the quantity sold for Cement 2 over the period of January 13 to January 20, let's filter the products for those two. So two product cement, Grand Cement. So let's see. As you can see, comparing them is a bit hard in terms of chart. So this is what happens if you choose date as column, because as you can see, this is January 13 for Cement 2. You have to compare it with January 13 for Grand Cement. Then you compare January 16 for Cement 2. Then you compare that with January 16 for Grand Cement. So it's like that. And it's not very intuitive to use. So this is why if you want to view via the table easily, it's better to choose the column, dates in column, because this is what happens to the chart. Although it is still readable, you can actually still analyze from here, but it's not as intuitive as if when the date is placed in the row. It's table versus chart. Okay, so let's see what happens to the same data if we choose the date in the row. So we build the chart again, same data range. This time, we choose row for easy viewing of data in the chart. So row. And then delete the current chart. we choose the same column graph. So let's go. So let's look at the table now. As you can see, now that we chose the date to be placed in the row, the table becomes a bit harder to read because the products, which we have a lot of, stretches out further and further here, which makes the table harder to interpret because the table becomes very long. But in contrast, when we look into the chart, we can see that the chart now becomes easier to read because this is, as you can see here, January 13. This becomes all of the different products sold in January 13. This is all of the different products sold in January 16, January 17, 18, and 19 and 20, so on and so forth. Now look when we want to compare the same Cement 2 and Grand Cement when we have the date in the row. So I will choose Cement 2 and Grand Cement. So look, see that it is now very much easier to understand and interpret the data. It's easier to make comparisons because you can see easily for January 13, this is the Cement 2, this is Grand Cement. For January 16, you can compare them side by side. So, as you can see, comparison becomes very easy in the chart if we use date as row. And once again, the table is actually still understandable here, but it's not as intuitive to use as the previous when it was in the column form. So now let's see what happens if we use the date, the line graph. So let's choose row because I want to see the chart. Then delete the previous chart. Then choose line. And then okay. So let's compare Cement 2 and Grand Cement. As you can see, the comparison becomes very easy also. You can easily see these are the sold quantities over the week for Grand Cement. These are the sold quantities over the week for Cement 2. So we can actually try to say that it is better. We can make an interpretation in this case to not purchase Cement 2 anymore because Grand Cement is more sellable. So that's an example of how we might interpret this data. Also, I did not touch on this previously, but you can also actually filter by category. So if you want to see by category concrete works, we go. So we have here. Because concrete works how come that is? Okay. Or is that correct? How come we lost data? Oh, it is correct, right? It really did rise the Grand Cement really did rise at the 20th day. But how come we don't have Grand Cement on January 13? You're supposed to have 33 on January 13. If you filter by Concrete Works, how come we don't have data for January 13? So I will remove this filter. I think I should remove that filter because it's not showing correctly. How come? There are no... I know. Because previously I added test as the category for Grand Cement instead of Concrete Works. Alright, so the category works, but it's just that we are using test data instead of Concrete Works for the category in the source. So it's okay. It still works. Anyway, so that's the a better explanation of our report system. So hopefully you guys will use this because this is very useful in making decisions for business. Okay.